Now, personally speaking, I feel like the goal of any business is to have it make money without you actually being present in the business, working in the business constantly. Now, when you first start, of course, you're going to have to be in there. You're going to have to be doing the marketing, answering calls, the customer service. You're going to have to do it all when you first start. But eventually, 4 or 5 years down the line, that's not the goal. I feel like in a business, you should be able to scale it to a point where you don't have to be in it every day for it to make money and start something else. That was my goal, that was my plan, and it worked out somewhat for me. It took me about 5, 6 years to actually scale it, and then when I didn't have to go into it anymore. And these are the tips that I took, so I figured I would share them with you. So, first thing I did was I hired an expert. Now, my background was in nursing, and I started a childcare business. I didn't have the knowledge per se of starting a childcare business, and that's okay. I'm sure the owner of ShopRite didn't have a knowledge of food. He just knew that he wanted to build a business and he wanted to make money from it. And Amazon, the owner of Amazon, didn't have a knowledge of, shipping and everything like that. He wanted a business that can scale, and he did it, okay? So what I did was I hired an expert. I started my childcare business, and I needed a teacher, I needed a director, somebody who knew the ins and outs of childcare. With childcare, there's ratios, there's state mandates, there's so many things that go into it. When I was doing my hiring process, I hired somebody who had an expert in curriculums, in having a childcare, as being a principal, as being someone in a leadership role in a childcare setting. Now, not everybody's in childcare. If you have a business where you are selling lotions or soaps or anything like that, hire somebody who is good at what they do. You cannot run the business and handle the social media accounts and handle the marketing of it and handle the customer service. And it gets to be a lot, guys. And that's great the first few years, maybe, the first few months, maybe. It's exciting. You started a new business. I want to do it all. I want to do this. I want to do everything. But eventually, you're not going to be able to do it, and you're going to get burnt out quickly. Hire somebody who is good at their field. While you are being creative and while you are coming up with the designs, or while you are, picking out your lashes or whatever it is, doing hair, whatever it may be, have somebody who is good at maybe running your social media. Have somebody who is good at maybe, doing your marketing for you. Somebody who is there helping you and supporting you. It is okay to ask for help. The most successful businesses are when people ask for help and you hire somebody who is good in their field. Remember that, you cannot be an expert in everything. You are supposed to be the owner. You are the business owner. You don't have to be in charge of customer service and marketing and everything. You don't have to do that. Hire somebody who is good at their field, who can help you scale your business so that you don't always have to be hands-on in everything. The next thing I would definitely say to do is to document everything. When I started my business, I kept hiring. The first time I hired a teacher, you had to do the orientation, have them, tell them exactly what their role is, what's expected of them, what their hours are, what the uniform is, what our policy and procedures are. I had to do that for the first year. I did it every teacher that I hired, every person that came in, every volunteer that walked through the building. I had to do that for everybody until I came up with a way to just document everything. And that's why these big companies have policies and procedure manuals, a staff manual, daycare manual, anything that is in written form, so that there's one policy for everything, so that if anybody has any questions, any return policy, any customer wonders why, why am I only able to return up to 30 days? Last time you did it under 60 days. Have everything written down in a policy. It's going to save you in the long run. And especially if anything happens to you, that is a document that you have proof of that, this customer was aware that our return policy was only 30 days. This customer was aware that, after a certain amount of days, they weren't able to get a refund. Have everything in writing so that you don't have to explain it to any and everyone. Remember, you're human. You're going to forget to say something. You're going to forget to tell somebody something. Make sure that they have a manual for every person that's coming in, for every customer, for everybody, the same manual, and sign that they received it. This is going to save you so much headache in the long run. Now, every time I hired a staff member, I didn't have to explain everything. I didn't have to sit down for an hour and tell them, lunch break is from this to this, or, make sure that your clothing is fitting well. I didn't have to tell them all that. They have a manual, read it on your time, sign that you received it, and I did my part. Okay, it made things a whole lot easier, and it made it uniform. No one staff member could say, okay, well, she told me that, it was okay to wear this. And this other staff member said, well, she said I can't, it just helps people to stop bumping heads and to have a clear set way and a set rules on how things should be run in your business. This is going to save you. This is going to help you make sure you come up with a standard policy and procedures for everything across the board so that everybody knows what their job description is, what you're expected of them, their time of arrival, and what you want your business and how you want your business to run. Also, once I had this policy and procedures manual, I was able to kind of, pass on responsibilities to other people. I was able to say, you know what, now that I have hired and I've hired you and you have this knowledge, now that you've been a part of the staffing for X amount of years, now you can train and hire all the new staff members coming in. And you have this policy and procedures manual where I don't have to constantly be in everything, okay? I can pass on responsibility and kind of oversee everything. That is the name of the game, guys, or you'll be sitting there telling everybody everything, repeating yourself, and it just gets to be tedious and you are going to be overwhelmed. The next thing I would definitely say to do is to take a step back, okay? Now that they have all the policies, now they have all the procedures, now they know what to do, you have to allow them to do that. When I took a step back from my business, it was the hardest thing to do. I knew where my Post-its were. I knew all my passwords. I knew where everything was. I knew on Tuesdays the milk delivery came in at this time, and the kids had this to eat on this day. I knew everything. I knew the ins and outs of my business. But it stopped me and it prevented me from taking vacations when I wanted to. I was just so worried about everything falling on me that I didn't want to take a step back. I didn't want to go away. I didn't want a vacation. And guys, that's no way to live. I found out that I was working more hours in my own business than I was when I was working in the hospital. And that just wouldn't do. I stopped working in the hospital so I can work smarter, not harder. So what I started doing is taking a step back. And when you realize that you hire the right people, you have to trust them to do their job. You have to trust that what you hired them for, they're able to do, or what are you paying them for, right? So take a step back and let them figure it out. You don't have to be there for every phone call. You don't have to be there over their shoulder, making sure they did it right. Eventually, just like how you learned on the job, they're going to learn on the job how to handle things. And if you're constantly there, watching them, holding their hands, they're never going to learn. They're always going to run, Tanya, can you teach me Tanya, how do you do this again, Tanya? No. No. I'm paying you to do a job. I want to see that you're responsible enough to do it. And the only way I'm going to do that is start taking some time off, taking a step back, and allowing the person that I hired to do what I hired them to do, okay? Now, not everybody's going to do things the same exact way as you do. They might have a better way. They may not. And only way you're going to find out is if you allow them that chance to show you, okay? So take a step back. Allow them to do what they're going to do, see if you like it, okay? At the end of the day, this is your baby, okay? So make sure you like what they're doing, like how they're doing it, if they're doing it in a timely manner, and maybe it's a change that you're willing to take, or maybe it's something that you want to correct in the beginning. But you're never going to know if you're there constantly holding their hand and being their crutch. The next thing I would definitely say is to stop having individual meetings. As a child care provider, I had a staff of 24 adult women, okay? Adult teachers. And it got a little catty sometimes. And you have to constantly deal with this one saying this one, this one, saying something about this one, or this one, complaining about this one calling out, this one, having a sick child they need to take off, this one asking for a certain amount of days for school. It got to be a lot, and it got to be overwhelming. Think about 24 individual people coming up to you with each individual problem. It got to be a lot, and you're only one person. If you have a certain amount of people pulling you in different directions, it gets to be overwhelming. So make sure you're having group meetings. I would have a staff meeting once a month, and every month I would have somebody else run it for me. I would sit in the back, and allow my staff members who's been there longer to run the meeting. Maybe they can answer some of the questions, but they're not going to know to do that if you don't allow them. If you're constantly running these meetings and being there, do the first couple, okay? But if you're constantly being the one answering the same questions and questions over and over again, eventually the person who's been there longer are going to be able to answer some of those questions. So that's when you take a step back and allow them to do just that. So take a step back, have group meetings. Okay, you had a question about this, and this. We're going to discuss it during the group meeting so that all your questions are at once and you're not coming to me individually, probably most of the time with the same questions, right? And make sure that we're having it all in a staff meeting. I did staff meetings once a month with each, I think I had staff meetings once a month or each quarter or semester, just so that everybody had a time to talk to me, discuss their problems, discuss their concerns, any suggestions, and it worked out better that way. And eventually I was able to start missing some of the meetings, okay? If the person who was running it had a question, text me. I'll be home, okay? Okay. I know what you guys are thinking. Tanya, this is my business. This is my baby. I want to be there. The name of the game is to take a step back. When was the last time you walked into a store and saw the owner? I just want you to think about that for a minute. For businesses that you are trying to scale and make bigger, when was the last time you went into a ShopRite and saw the owner of ShopRite? When was the last time you went into Macy's and saw the owner of Macy's? You don't see them. They trust people underneath them to do their jobs and to not be so hands-on so that they can invest in other things and do other things. That was how I was going to build my empire, and that's how you're going to build yours also. Take a step back, delegate, okay, and stop being the center of everything. Start taking little steps back, showing that these people that you hired or you're trusting can be more independent. So definitely have group meetings so that nobody's constantly coming to you for the same exact thing. Have other people run it, take a step back, and you're going to see that your business is going to flourish and start making money without you even being there. The last way I would definitely say to scale your business is to look at your prices. Now that you've put in all these quality people, all these quality staff, this expert to run your marketing and this expert in education and this expert for this, and now that you have it kind of self-running and you have systems in place, now you got to look at your prices. Do your prices correspond to all these experts and people that you have delegating and doing the staffing for you? Now that everything is moving at a better rate, you're getting better quality. Now that you're being more efficient, do your prices correlate to all of these perks that you're giving out? So now is the time to start looking at your prices and seeing if you can, bump it up a little bit. You're paying this expert. They have to get paid. How are you going to pay them? Look at the quality of the services you're providing, and it's okay to up your price a little bit. You implemented the system. You grew this business. Now it's time to bump up your prices and get paid accordingly. There's a reason why they'll come to my child care center where my staff is, well-trained and efficient and their child is safe and secure. There's a reason they're choosing, your business over somebody else's. There's a reason why they came to you. But you're going to have to pay for that quality, okay? If you were doing everything by yourself and doing it the cheaper way, they're not going to have their shipping out as fast. They're not going to have the quality that they could have because it's just you. You cannot be pulled in so many directions. So now that you are, doing everything the right way, systems are running, now to bump up your prices a little is nothing wrong with that. Okay, I understand you want to make sure that everybody can, purchase your item or purchase this, but you're going to have to pay for these things. These things are not free. That's when you start building up your prices to make up for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Over the years, I slowly made little increases. And before you knew it, my staff were able to get bonuses. People were running more efficiently. We were able to, make sure all the overhead was covered and everything was moving according to plan. And I did not have to be there every day. So that is the name of the game and how to scale your business. Okay, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe at the bottom. Let me know how are you scaling your business in 2022, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.